Hey, hey, party people in the place to be. It's Blag the Ripper, and I'm back with songs and lyrics. And to my left, a good friend, an entrepreneur, a club owner here in San Francisco. This is Doug Dalton. Doug, say hey to the people out there.
Well, hello.
Doug Dalton is here because of our shared love for Mickey Avalon. And we're going to pop this track right now. This is Mickey Avalon, Mr. Right on Songs and Lyrics.
Who that dude sleeping with your girlfriend? Getting nude and rude in your bed. Same dude that your sister like. Mickey Avalon, call me Mr. Right. Who that man in a black sedan with two cheap hookers and a Mexican? Bumping white lines, sipping warm Coors Light. Mickey Avalon, call me Mr. Right. Stab on the Ave, a bag of green grass. Young teen on the scene, no future, no past. I don't know nothing about nothing, so don't ask nothing, cause I only be talking out my ass. Something smells fishy and I don't know what, but I got the hunch it's your lady. I'm a little bit country and a little bit punk. I got a pistol named Sonny that whistles when he's rubbed the wrong way. Mickey Avalon songs playing strip clubs, so sip some. I stay spumante with Dante Alighieri. I seen a better day, wine and cheese, fine ladies and lemonade. Getting paid for rhymes like these, and I never even learned to say my ABC. With ADD, I rock the beat like AC/DC. These done cheap. Who that dude sleeping with your girlfriend? Getting nude and rude in your bed. Same dude that your sister like. Mickey Avalon, call me Mr. Right. Who that man in a black sedan with two cheap...
All right, that was Mickey Avalon's Mr. Right. Doug, tell me your first impressions when you hear this track.
I mean, I always thought this was the coolest LA song ever. I felt like it detailed a lifestyle of a rock star like in a one day. Like if you watch the video of this, it's like it looks like his daughter, he's picking her up from school or something.
Right, which has a weird little there's a weird little subtext there.
Yeah.
He's talking about fucking young girls and doing different shit, and then he's like dropping his girlfriend or dropping his daughter off at school, and you just kind of get this like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah, and then there's this whole other aspect to this, which is kind of how he rose to fame, I would say, is his, I don't know if it was a relationship with Paris Hilton, but that's also detailed in the video because Paris Hilton's in the video.
Oh, I haven't seen it in a while. So
Yeah.
that's that Paris Hilton's in the video.
Yeah, he towards the end of it, he comes into a club and Paris Hilton like gives him a big hug and then he goes up on stage.
Wow.
And it's like,
Whether loud be her cheers or whether soft be her tears, more and more do I realize.
I love Paris in the springtime. I love Paris in the fall. I love Paris in the winter when it drizzles. I love Paris in the summer when it sizzles. I love Paris every moment of the year.
and that was like, he like skyrocketed.
I'll bet. I mean, that whole thing kind of passed you by. I'm curious when you use the word rock star, though, because part of what I love about Mickey Avalon so much is that he has kind of cultivated this super low class kind of thing. Like he doesn't. He does the hip hop thing where he'll talk about making money or getting played everywhere, but he loves to push the low quality shit. So two cheap hookers and a Mexican sipping warm Coors Light. He's not talking about drinking Cristal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's that whole undercurrent of hip hop where guys are living with their moms and they're talking about popping bottles of Cristal and driving on and riding around on their yacht,
Yeah.
And Mickey's just the opposite. He sort of celebrates what I remember about the video is like it kind of starts in this cheap motel in
absolutely.
Hollywood, and it's that side of Hollywood that's really kind of dirty and small.
Right.
You know, and I think what I love about Mickey is that he always seemed to embrace that. He'll always brag about fucking your girl or doing your drugs, but, you know, he always keeps it at a very low, kind of low level. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'm looking through some of the lines that I think are hilarious. It's like, fresh white Valley's pink tube socks, tight gray Levi's, and shirt with polka dots. A Rolex, but it's fake. Gold, gold gazelle glasses, platinum chain, but they're fake. Like your tits, your eyes, your nose, your lips. You know, he's also talking about like kind of over the top rap. You know, where people are flashing money and they're like in Bentleys. He's like driving in like a broke ass fucking Cadillac. He has Cadillac tattooed on his chest. I mean, he's not trying to be anything more. And his Cadillac is like that shitty old 2-door one, like in the video. It's not like the big 4-door old caddy. It's like the one that almost looks like a Monte Carlo. You know, you're like.
Come back. I said, baby, won't you listen to me? Come on, sugar, come on, hear my plea. Well, she looked at the boy, oh, we'll never agree. Cadillac car, oh yeah.
And he's like driving around with like a Coors Light in the car. You know, it's just.
Well, the other thing too with Mickey that always fascinated me was this undercurrent of like hustler, street hustler. Like there is a gay element to it.
Yeah.
Even though he unapologetically talks about heterosexual sex all the time, he will drop in these references. He doesn't do it in this song, but there's lots of different songs where he'll drop in stuff where he talks about, you know, jerking somebody off or sucking somebody dick or whatever. Like it's a very, it takes place much more in a drug addict world than in like I mean, the big difference between this and sort of conventional black hip hop of the era, because this song must be 15 years old now, right?
At least, or 20.
20 years old. And basically, like at the time, you know, when you listen to hip hop, black guys always make a big deal about, yeah, I sell the drugs, but I'm not a cluck who's doing the drugs.
Right.
Once you get guys like Mickey Avalon, Dirt Nasty, and some of these kind of, you know, third generation white rapper guys, they are unashamedly doing drugs.
Yeah.
And coming out and talking about it. And so it's got more of that club sleaze, like, let's go in the bathroom and do some coke element to it, right?
Yeah.
And it isn't just, hey, you know, I'm laughing at you people on drugs while I make money off it, which was always sort of the 50 Cent thing. I mean,
Right.
50 Cent was coming out talking about slinging keys of coke. He never came out and talked about doing it.
Right.
Right. And about the only guys that you could really, that would ever sort of acknowledge anything, it was maybe ODB.
Yeah.
A little bit DMX around the edge. Like he wasn't proud of it, but you kind of knew that he was on dope.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of, that's always fascinated me, that side of hip hop where look, you know, if these guys were selling this shit and they were kids that they did it.
Right.
But they're so ashamed of having done it.
Right.
And then when you get to these guys like Mickey and Dirt and they start going through, you know, they're proud of being high. They're proud of being scumbags.
Well, they have like that what I would call that ministry element, where ministry is unapologetically just like, I'm a junkie. Like, fuck.
Right.
Like he's like, I don't fucking care. Like you look at him now and his whole, like he was.
A test. You say
bullshit. I sell out. Get the hell out of this business. But I won't be caught in that net of suckers and glass people. Weak, beaten down and feeble.
If you what's his name, the lead singer of Ministry?
Al Jurgensen.
Yeah, Al Jurgensen. So if you look at him when he was young, he was a very good-looking guy, and if you look at him now, you're like, what the shit happened? He's like got tattoos on his eyebrows. He's
Right.
like, he looks like, you know, he's been in prison for like 15 years. Like, it's not a good look.
Well, Jurgensen is such a fascinating case to me, and there's obviously a whole other show to be done about him, but I was always, talk about somebody who invented a genre.
Yeah.
I mean, before there's sort of heavy metal music and kind of club music before Ministry, and then heavy metal music and dance music after Ministry. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's no White Zombie, there's no Marilyn Manson or any of this without that strong industrial drums with loud guitars thing that is just totally the province of Ministry.
Well, or if you look at them in the 80s Ministry, which was like,
New wave. Well,
Yeah,
see, that was how
like-
I knew him.
Yeah.
Because I come from Illinois. So you'd
Yeah.
go to shows, you'd hear about them, or you'd go to Wax Trax Records, which was sort of, you know, before there was such a thing as industrial, there was
Right.
Wax Trax. It was just a place. I'd go there to buy garage records, punk records. And yeah, Ministry was like kind of soft and new wavy and had machines in it. And he was doing pretty good, you know, but to his credit, I think he was kind of thirsty for a new style.
Push me off the dirty floor. You watched as my head hit the floor. You watched as I rode round and round. You watched as I came tumbling down. You watched as I rode down the stairs. You never wished me very well. You watched as I got on my feet. I ran towards her and she started to bleed. No, I got done what you feel. 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 You did it again. You did it again. You did it again and again and again.
And then, you know, when we heard Land of Rape and Honey and Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, all of a sudden it was like, this guy's created a new form, not only of dance music, but of heavy metal music. Like
Yeah.
that was where it went.
well, and so back to Mickey. One of the things that I think is very funny is I had a friend who was visiting me over the weekend, and she grew up with Mickey. And Mickey dated like some of her friends, and he was this super nice Jewish guy.
Yeshi Pearl, yeah.
And so he was. It's so funny because then he like went off from like Orange County or like Newport Beach to like L.A. And all of a sudden he comes back and he's like this tatted up guy who's like still just as loving and wonderful as they remember, but now he's got like this
A new persona.
a new persona. But apparently, like as far as I understand, he didn't really even do drugs or anything like that. Okay, maybe not. But
Yeah, I got to give you full disclosure on Mickey Avalon. So my story with him starts. I knew a woman in Los Angeles, and she said, "Hey, I know this young guy. I've been dating him a little bit. I think he's really great, and he does hip hop, but he's kind of looking for a direction, trying to figure out what to do. And I'm just trying to put him together with people who produce tracks and do different things." And I got together with him. This was before he had a record out. And he played me a track, which turned out to be, it had that hook. Roll the dice, everything's got a price.
Got along together like high heels and short skirts. So Mary packed her bags and she became Liza's bird. Then I saw less and less of Liza, and the less that I heard to her, Mary murdered her.
Roll the dice, every soul's got a price. For a fee, royalty, do things you won't believe. And kiss in poverty.
chance with the dream in his heart and the blade in his pants. Jesse waited tables in the face.
And it turned out I sang the hook on that. We got in my Pro Tools and I sang something for him. I think it was that track. It was something around that time. And then I just kind of lost touch with it. But it turned out he actually put the track out and I was on it. And I got to thank you and everything. But I'd never, I wasn't really conscious of it. And then a few years later, he just kind of blew up. And he's a good example. And this was something I was never able to get in my music career of right place, right time.
Right.
You know, after the initial explosion of hip hop, which I would date to the mid 80s, there was kind of a thirst with these kids who had grown up listening to hip hop records to kind of have their own homegrown version of it, their own kind of punk rock version of it, if you will, right?
Right.
I mean, there's always that thing, you know, kids in the 50s heard Elvis and then it was like, I can do that. And they got in there and had their version of it. And then kids heard the Beatles and it was like, I can do that. And they went in and did their version of it. And sometimes you get these wonderful, punky, weird versions of that. Sometimes you get attempts to, you know, sort of slavish imitations, whatever it is. When the white kids came into hip hop, it sort of went two different ways, right? One way was that kind of Limp Bizkit way of like, yo, and they had the baseball cap backwards and they were just desperately trying to be black, failing miserably and making these whack kind of metal things.
Like a chunk, like a chunk. Should I be feeling bad? Should I be feeling good? It's kind of sad. I'm the laughing stock of the neighborhood. And you would think that I'd be moving on. But I'm a sucker, like I said. In the head knot. And maybe she just made a mistake. And I should give her a break. My heart will ache either way. Hey, what the hell? What you want me to say? I won't lie. That I can't deny. I did it all for the nookie. Come on, the nookie. Come on. So you can take that cookie and stick it up your head. 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 I did it all for the nookie. Come on, the nookie. Come on. So you can take that cookie and stick it up your head. 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 Why did it take so long? Why did I wait so long? Huh? To figure it out, but I did it, and I'm the only one underneath the sun.
And the other way, I think, was Mickey and Dirt and some of these other young white guys that were more like a rapper in the sense of like, look, I got my style. This is my style. If you put me over a good track, it'll be good. If you put me over a trashy track, it'll be trashy. But this is just me.
Right.
You know? And that to me was kind of closer to the essence of hip hop and what an MC is. Although some people really soundly rejected these guys, right? It was just completely like, you know, the same way people were like, you ain't Elvis or you ain't the Beatles. You know, it was immediately like, wow, you know, you're some white kid. You ain't, you know, Ice Cube. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think they weren't really understanding that it was kind of a natural reaction to more mainstream hip hop, right? And the ethos of that. And I think he was right place, right time. LA club kids were going around looking for something. They saw him and they thought, yeah, this is kind of what we are, you know. We're not really drug dealers. We're more like drug doers.
Yeah.
And
well, another band that I think of in the same era of like what I would say not as hard as Mickey Avalon and talking about drugs, but they were always doing drugs. But they were. Do you remember the band The Streets?
The Streets.
Yeah.
Oh wait, they were from
UK.
Oh, okay, no, yeah, I knew a local thing. That was a different thing. Okay, no, Streets UK. I got to get hip to. That's what's so great about this show, Doug. Because now that you've said that, I'm going to play that and I'm going to get to check it out. You know what I mean? We kind of cut in songs as we go.
So The Streets has this like kind of tongue in cheek, like I'm kind of hard, but really I'm just a pussy, and I sit in my room and I play my Xbox and fucking play games,
right?
And I'm not trying to be any more than that. And he's trying to like. There's one song where he's like, "Aren't you fit and don't you know it?" is one of his songs, and it's like this girl's super hot and he's trying to talk to her and his buddy's like, you're not going to talk to her, you're just going to wuss out. And they're like talking about like how they're trying to be cool in a club, and then he gets her number and he's like, don't call her.
Like I said, you are really fit, but my gosh, don't you just know it?
I'm not trying to pull you, even though I would like to. I think you are really fit. You're fit, but my gosh, don't you know it?
So when I looked at you standing there with your horde, I was waiting in the queue looking at the board, wondering whether to have a burger or chips or what the shrapnel in my back pocket could afford. When I noticed out the corner of my eye, looking toward my direction, your eyes locked on my course. I couldn't concentrate on what I wanted to order, which lost me my place in the queue I waited for. Yeah.
I'm not trying to pull you, even though I would like to. I think you are really fit. You're fit, but my gosh, don't you know it?
You know, like all this stuff. It's very humorous, but it's in that same self-effacing way as like Mickey Avalon, where he's talking about like, I am with two cheap hookers and a Mexican, and I have a friend who whistles the wrong way when he talks. You know, it's like, you know, I assume he means like he farts fucking nonstop, but I think it's very much in that same genre of this, like, just self-derogatory nature of, I know I'm not cool in a traditional sense of cool, but somehow all of my not cool has made me cool.
Well, and don't you think, I totally agree with you, and I think the other side of that was those sort of conscious rappers, or we would sort of derisively call them backpack rappers, so it was guys like Aesop Rock and stuff like that, where it was like, look, I'm really conscious, I've read a lot, here's me in my notebook. You know, and Mickey felt more to me like a real rapper in the sense that, like, some of those guys were really quite good, the backpack guys. Yeah. But you never got the feeling from them that they were doing anything but writing it down, being amazed at how clever they were, and then spitting it out. Whereas with Mickey, he gave you that illusion that he meant it, that he was living it, that he was doing it. You know, and I think a lot of the backpack guys kind of missed that. Sage Francis and whoever. Right. Like, these were guys that were good rappers. I'm not going to say they weren't good rappers in the same sense, you know, there's all kinds of people that can play a cello, but they're not YoYoMa. You know, there's something about people who approach anything, you know, the way an artist does, with a certain indefinable quality that makes you connect to them and feel that it's real.
Right. And so there was another band I think of in the same era, which is, do you remember Bloodhound Gang?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
like,
Lupus was a buddy of mine. Yeah, I remember Bloodhound Gang.
They just came onto the scene, and they came onto the scene because of trying to get on the Howard Stern show. So they made
I remember that.
Yeah, so they tried to make a song to get on the Howard Stern show, and then they were singing a bunch of songs together, and they put one of them out, and it got on a local radio station, and Howard Stern rejected their song. And they actually went on Howard Stern later and explained all this. So that's how I knew it, because I grew up in DC. But like it was hilarious because they just, I remember in DC, we had this thing called WHF Festival. And the two guys from Bloodhound Gang got there. And they're like, we came up with a song. And this is the first time we're really playing in public. And it's in a stadium. Like National Stadium, and they're like, I mean, to be honest, we're really nervous. It was the most amazing, but you know, they were like kind of those white boy rappers that like didn't have a lot of like skill. They just had like a drum machine and a guitar at home, and one could play guitar and the other played the drum machine, and that's kind of how they.
Perhaps even the British royal family, and the rabbi that's touching the bottle fed coffee, and we can't forget the newlyweds, and those Jerry's kids are as good as dead. I hope this helps to emphasize. I hope this helps to clarify. I hope you die. fake Clydesdale horse while he masturbates to photos of livestock. He does the silence of the lambs. It's the
I mean, they reminded me of that whole thing. Like, hip hop's interesting too in this way, where like one record, if it's big enough, spawns all these bands. I mean, that first Beastie Boys record with "Fight for the Right to Party,"
Yeah.
to me, like Bloodhound Gang is a direct line from that, or bands
yeah.
like Cottonmouth Kings or whatever.
Yeah.
And then within 3 or 4 years, when they make another record, it's Paul's Boutique. That couldn't be sort of artier and jazzier, and sort of spawns all of these other kind of
Right.
conscious raps and different things. But so you grew up around D.C. and Virginia, I think,
Yeah,
right?
fair.
Were you big at the 930 Club and places like that? That was your spot?
Yeah, you all my friends will say that when I go out to like a festival or a concert, I'm always wearing my 930 shirt.
Right,
'Cause
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's like I would say it's the industry shirt that like everyone immediately knows that you're DC
Right.
area and you grew up in DC when you wear that. So they're like, wait, you're from DC?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the thing. And
what were some of the bands you were seeing at 930?
so my first show ever at 930, my friend Dave Bailey, who I went to school with, was like, yeah, we got to go see this band. They're really good. And I was like, what is this country sounding stuff? And it was Violent Femmes. So I had never heard them before.
Such a
and-
great group from Milwaukee. I
Yeah.
got to play a little of them
Yeah.
right now.
Why can't I get just one fuck? Why can't I get just one fuck? I guess it's got something to do with luck. But I waited my whole life for just one day after day. I get angry and I will say that the day is in my sight. When I take a bow, say goodnight. Oh my mama, oh my mom, have you kept your eye on your son? I know you've
That was
had
one of my first shows. And then I would go to this thing that they would have there, 3 bands for $3. And you would go in, you pay like a $3 cover. And the cover would get you one local band, one pretty big local band, and then one huge artist. Because I learned this through Rob Garza from Thievery Corp. That
Oh, we got to play some Thievery Corp too.
Yeah.
Rap out to Rob.
Too low to find my way, too high to wonder why. I've touched this place before, somewhere in another time. Now I can hear the sun, the clouds drifting through the blinds. I have a million thoughts are flowing through my mind.
Yeah, so Rob had informed me that he was best friends or really good friends with one of the owner of 930, and that guy was a booking agent for years. So he had this like great collection of friends and everything in the industry. So that's why he was able to do these 3 bands for $3. So what he found a way around skirting the radius clause of like big bands, and so when they would come to DC, he would reach out to them and say, hey, you want to play? And they're like, we have a radius clause. And he goes, under your name, but not under a fake name, like a pseudonym. So you'd see bands, like it would start off with like some local band. Then it would be, like L7 would play as Camel Toe, or Red Hot Chili Peppers would play as My Big Dick or something like that. And they were just the crassest possible names,
Right.
and no one would question. And then they come in and it'd be like the Chili Peppers or The Cure or all kinds of stuff. He would just have amazing bands there. In fact, The Cure was supposed to play there and like under the 3 bands for $3, but they got busted for crack before their show at the stadium. They were buying crack like near South Capitol. It was like huge news, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like in the earlier days of punk, I mean, there was always the larger music industry around it. But it was a little more kind of sympathetic and amorphous. And the kind of thing you're describing is very much in keeping with my experience. Like, you could bend the rules a little bit, you could play around a little bit, you could do some things. Now it really seems like, man, you try anything and they are just on your ass, and everybody's ready to drag you to court or drag you down over this or that. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't, it seemed like it was smarter for the bigger industry to be amorphous and kind of let people in. That period in the 80s and 90s when you and I were starting to go to shows, there was cracks, the same way like our economy works better when some people from the middle class can get into the upper class, when some people from the working class can work their way into middle class. But now things seem to have really solidified. And music seems to have kind of gone that same way. It's very much like, no, we already made up our mind what's going to be big. This is it. This is who got blessed. And everybody else can just kiss our ass. And if you have any problems with it, we're going to sue you and there's going to be issues.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like whenever you a story that I heard recently that I thought was really interesting was MGMT. So MGMT, their three huge hits that everyone knows, Kids and all of those songs. Out of all of those songs, they specifically said, we do not want these. This was like a pop thing that we were doing, and we do not want these on the album at all. And whoever Universal or wherever they were with put those on as their main tracks and put that on their like sampler to all the radio stations, and it blew up. And they were like, you broke our contract. This is like, we're going to come after you, all of this stuff. And they're like, hold on. What if we say the next 3 albums that you want to do, we will have no creative input at all. You can do it however you want. And they're like, done. So you never heard of MGMT after that because they did all these psychedelic experimental albums. Right. And their last album was like Dark Wave, which was pretty cool. And I think that's kind of, that speaks to that what you're talking about of this, we know what's going to work. And it did work. Right. Fortunately for them or unfortunately, but it was perfect. It hit at the right time. It set a whole new genre of this like kind of weird pop.
I'm not really hip to that group. I have to listen to them. See, this was great. I want to hear some MGMT right here.
Yeah.
You were a child, crawling on your knees toward it, making mama so proud, but your voice is too loud. We like to watch you laughing. You pick the insects off plants. No time to think of consequences. Show yourself, take only what you need from it. A family of trees wanted to be haunted. Show yourself, take only what you need from it. A family of trees wanted to be haunted. The water is warm, but it's sending me shivers. A baby is born, crying out for attention.
But another good segue into that is the next song that we're going to hear from Mickey Avalon, which is him mocking kind of this whole like everything that he sees in LA now, which is like just I'm Better Than You is the song, and we should hit that one next, and that one will really talk.
Now, is this later day Mickey? I'm not familiar with this one.
Yeah, this is a little bit more recent Mickey, but this is my friend Isabel's favorite song. And so she was like, while we were talking, she was like, I love this song just because it articulates everything that LA is like.
'Cause I'm better than you. 'Cause I'm better than you. 'Cause I'm better than you. cause I'm better than you. I just quit smoking weed, cause I'm better than you. I've been sober 3 weeks, cause I'm better than you. I eat gluten-free pasta, cause I'm better than you. Well, I did ayahuasca, cause I'm better than you. I've been to a beast, cause I'm better than you. I pronounce it a beast, cause I'm better than you. I never eat dairy, cause I'm better than you. Well, my folks are still married, cause I'm better than you. I only shop at Whole Foods, cause I'm better than you. Well, I was homeschooled, cause I'm better than you. I deleted the gram, cause I'm better than you. Well, I've been to Burning Man, cause I'm better.
I'm better than you because I go to Erewhon. I'm better than you because, I'm fasting half the day. I'm better than you for all of these reasons.
People love that, don't they? Like, ever since the Beach Boys, people love California people celebrating California. I mean, I've lived here now close to 40 years, and yet I'll always feel like an outsider. I come from Illinois, and I'll always kind of identify with that. Spent some time in New York, but I'll always just kind of, no matter how long I stay in California, if you're not from here, there's definitely a thing. And people who are from here, it's very provincial. Like they think the whole world is this, right? It's kind of like people from New York. That's like when you were talking about the DC thing, I think part of what the whole like DC people sticking together thing is like, we're not New York, because New York kind of sucks up all the air on the East Coast. And Boston's always going, we're here too. And DC is always going, we're here too.
Right.
Philly,
and Miami.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, once you get down south, they do have a whole Atlanta and Miami thing, and tends to be more dance oriented and all that. But where was I going with that? So, I mean, I guess what I want to say is we love Mickey Avalon, and I'm going to go out with the track that I did with him. This is Bitches and Hoes.
Oh, yeah.
Blag Dahlia, Mickey Avalon, and the Big Dick Hustlers. We'll see you next time on Songs and Lyrics.
I got 5 girls in the palm of my hand. 3 they call me daddy and 2 they call me ma'am. Uh-oh, I better let them go. There's a few in California that been cursing my name till they wake up masturbating and dripping with shame. Hey, hey, I really gotta get away.
1, 2, 3, they gonna run back to me. Hit 'em in the back, lick 'em where they pee. 4, 5, 6, all over my dick. Ballin' like LeBron and rollin' like I'm Rick.
Bitches and hoes, they haunt me like a dose. They want me to save them. No, they won't let go. Bitches and hoes. Had a Creole princess down in New Orleans. Stuck me with a pin and then reached into my jeans. Voodoo. That's just the way I do. Now I get high and I love to get